You're listening to The Donor Doctor Show, where your host, James Newberry, will help you improve the health of your fundraising. Now over to James.
Hello, this is the Donor Doctor, and I'm with the president of A Direct Solution, Erica Waasdorp. I hope I pronounced that last name right.
Yes.
Yes, good, good.
Erica
And Erica is the Waasdorp. I'm sorry. Erica is the just wrote a book, Monthly Giving: The Sleeping Giant: How Small Gifts Can Become Powerful Tools to Support Any Organization. Now, I've often thought about this monthly giving idea. I saw that, I remember reading an article probably over 20 years ago that in Europe that was the primary way people gave, monthly. In fact, it was difficult to give just one time. Is that right? You ever heard that?
Yeah, that is. I mean, that's true. I am, and I don't know if you know this, but I am Dutch originally, so I moved to this country 24 years ago. So, yes, I mean, people literally could walk up to other people and give their bank account information. That's how people pay. So it's totally, it's in a way like public information. So people are much more comfortable giving monthly, and it's just a different culture. I mean, credit cards were really not existent for many, many years. So everything went through the bank, and that was the way they donated. So very different.
Well, you mentioned that. One thing that you mentioned, and I encourage anybody to go to your website, adirectsolution.com, because you have a number of articles. And one thing that I hadn't thought of but makes a lot of sense is if you're going to get a monthly donor, it'd be better to have their bank account information than their credit card, because credit cards expire. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, credit cards expire, or, like we all had the chip cards, so that meant that everybody got a new card, so that caused some problems for existing monthly donor programs. And then there's fraud issues that occur regularly. So people do change credit cards quite frequently, as opposed to they don't change their bank account that often. So
right.
That is definitely, if you're starting out a monthly donor program, I highly recommend that you offer the electronic funds transfer option and the credit card option. I mean, in this country, credit cards is still the more common way to donate monthly, because it is just easier. But as you're starting out, definitely start asking, because it is growing. It's totally growing. And the cost is, obviously, you don't have the 3 or 5% credit card fees either, so more money will go to your mission.
Oh, that might be something that would sell people on it, if you think about it, that they wouldn't have that fee. Now, you talk a lot about public TV and how successful they've been. Could you talk about that? I mean, I enjoy watching these public as a fundraiser. I think they're quite good. I remember Wayne Dyer, before he died. My mom was always a fan of him, and I watch his things. Public TV, they've been very good at this. Am I right?
Yes, they have. They're almost like the pioneers in many ways. Besides some, a lot of animal charities have been very successful early on with monthly donors as well. But a lot of public television and public radio have really started promoting monthly giving, because it has a couple of advantages. Number one is, because in essence they're selling a mission that people can watch for free, right? So you don't have to donate, you don't have to become a member. So they said, look, there's a lot of people on fixed incomes, and giving monthly allows them to give $5 or $10 a month and become a member. And then they don't have to renew these members, because once you give your credit card or bank account information, it keeps going. So again, it's a huge cost savings for them, not having to send out these renewal series asking members to renew, because
I can see
they're
that.
Already doing that. So that was something
I imagine
that
their
they
lifetime.
Lifetime value is great.
Yeah, I imagine from what you said, it's 2 or 3 times greater.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. And the good news is, like, so again, you have a member, you recognize them as a member, they stay with you for many, many years, and again, you ultimately actually get more money to do it. I mean, I think the other reason why public television, public radio has been so successful is they had, obviously, the television or the radio media to talk to people about this. So it was as close to a personal ask as you could get. So obviously other organizations don't have those media available to them. So direct mail and email and telemarketing are really the way to go for people that don't have access to TV or radio. But it works.
One of the things,
all of the channels work.
One of the things you mentioned is that not only do you get is there more lifetime value, there's more dead time value too. I mean, you get a lot more money in wills from your,
I mean,
your monthly donors.
One of my clients, they have about 30,000 monthly donors, and last year 75% of their legacy income came from monthly donors. And, there's another statistic out there based on a friend of mine who does a lot of research in the UK, and they've seen that where they read every will. So, and they know exactly where people give to and where their legacy revenue is going to. So they can see that monthly donors are 6 to 7 times more likely to leave you in their will. Again, it's not surprising. They make small donations. Right. They're a lot of times on fixed income, so they don't have they're not the big check writers, but they are so loyal. They care so much about these organizations that they are going to say, look, I want them to get my estate when I pass away.
That's a great thing to consider. Now, one of the things that's strong about public TV is they have all sorts of incentives. As I mentioned, Wayne Dyer. Books, but it could be the Rick Steves with the European travel thing. Incentives are big in getting people to donate monthly. Am I correct?
Well, it depends. So, there's public television folks are used to getting premiums, but a lot of small to mid-sized organizations that are more mission-focused, that are not using any premiums anywhere, it's... Right. You don't need a premium. You don't need an incentive to
you don't have to.
Somebody to get. No, you don't. No, especially if you're a mission focused organization and you position the monthly donation option as a way that's convenient and easy for the donor, easy on their budget. It's a way to make a big impact with a small regular donation. The donor is going to want to do it. So it's just like you're offering the convenience of them. You don't need to give something a tchotchke to make that happen. So it's all about how you position it in the promotion of the monthly donor program.
Now, one of the things you talk about is the fear of doing this. Why do many groups not have a monthly donor program?
Yeah, great question. So a lot of times, and I've obviously been, and thank you for having me on the show, because again, it helps advocate to organizations. Number one, the tremendous power of monthly donors. I mean, one of the numbers, I work with a small organization. They have 2,500 donors. It's an animal rescue, and they have 300 monthly donors. And do you know what they are giving annually? $85,000 a year. So when I give them that, when I give that number to people, saying, "Look, here's a small organization that is focused on this and is asking all the time and offers it as a way to make it convenient and easy for the donor to give monthly," they want to grow this, and donors are going for it. And again, $85,000 a year. You can hire folks for that. You can really do a lot of things for your mission. So what is the fear in organizations? I think, number one, it's a time thing. A lot of organizations obviously don't have a lot of time. But it has become so much easier now. you can offer monthly giving online as a starter point, and it takes you a couple of minutes to put a monthly donation form together. All of the systems have made it so much easier. In the past, I mean, when I started out in monthly giving, it was much more complicated. You had to have IT people, and, you know, it was much more complicated. Now, you can do this with your donor-based system or with your online donation processor in a couple of minutes. So it's just that you have to focus on it. So I actually launched this sort of movement, if you will, like saying Monthly Donor Monday. Take a couple of minutes every Monday and do something on monthly giving. Focus on, on every Monday, take 10 minutes at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and just say, look, I'm going to focus on creating a thank you letter, or I'm going to focus on creating a monthly donation page. And then the next week you're going to link it to your website. And then the next week, because it's just a matter, you got to focus on it, but it's not that hard anymore. It used to be, but it's
right.
not.
No, I agree with you. It's much easier.
So the fear, I don't know what the fear is. The fear is you just got to start and then grow it. You know, so it's like as a fundraiser, I think you're not doing your donors any favors if you don't do it.
I do know from the direct mail perspective that direct mail people have tested certain things, like, for instance, wills. That's a very sensitive thing to ask for. And sometimes people will put that in a letter, you know, in an insert, and it will suppress response. So there's a fear I've heard, well, maybe this will suppress response. We've tested it, and it doesn't suppress response. But it doesn't always necessarily work either. Some people, you know, you have to kind of push it. I think it's probably better online. Now, you're talking about a special monthly donor page. Is that correct?
Correct.
You know,
yes.
separate from...
Yes. So what I recommend is look at your online donation page. And again, there's so many systems out there, so every system is a little bit different. But look at your one-time donation page and add the monthly option to it. So that's number one. And pretty much every system can do it, right? So that way it's always there. It starts putting it in people's minds. And then the second thing is create a monthly donor only page that you can then link to your website, and you can link it in emails directly going to the monthly page. So again, if you're promoting monthly, make sure that you link to that, and then don't give them that one-time option on that particular in that particular promotion. So online is a cheap way to go. It's a good starting point. A lot of times organizations actually have more email names. I mean, start with your volunteers. Start with your board. Start with your staff. So look at your low-hanging fruit. What do you have and again, then just start adding a couple of email appeals to the mix. Talking about direct mail works. Most small to mid-sized organizations are not sending a lot of direct mail appeals now. So what if you look at those donors who have given at least one gift in the last year, who have given less than $100, who may have made a gift by credit card, and start there and do a special appeal.
Giving by credit card is more likely to be doing this. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, we've found all sorts of things by email. Some people who respond by email but send in their check maybe because they don't trust. Who knows why they did that? They're more likely to be direct mail donors than just a pure email. They're somewhat of a hybrid, for instance. All sorts of things. So somebody who gives by credit card is more likely to sign up monthly. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, like, I've tested a number of times where the response rate is just higher. So in other words, if you are just getting your feet wet and you need to prove to the powers to be, the board and your boss, that this is something that you really want to push for, you want to obviously set yourself up for the highest likelihood of success. So when you're doing direct mail, asking for, monthly donations to those donors who have already given you their credit card is number one. It's probably not that high of a number that you have to mail out to, and also that response rate is like typically double to 3 times higher than those people who have not yet given my credit card. That's my experience in the mail. So again, it's just add one appeal at a time. Maybe pick September and saying, hey, in September I'm going to do a focus on monthly donors, and you're not taking away from your appeals. so you don't have to worry about that. I mean, if you're a bigger organization, absolutely test it with and without that tick box on your appeal reply form.
Sure.
Because I've heard mixed, some animal organizations, they see no impact when they add it. Others do see an impact on their one-time donation. So, but setting
it might be with the newsletter.
Right. Newsletter is definitely, yes, added on there. What do you have to lose? Nothing.
Yeah, that'd be a good time, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one question that a friend of mine said, you must ask this, he wanted to know how much he should ask for. Do you have a variable ask? I mean, because you could ask more for somebody who's given you $500. Let's say somebody's given $100 twice. How much should I ask them for?
Okay, so the rule of thumb is take 1/3 of what they have given as a one-time gift. So if they're giving $100, you don't want to ask for $100 monthly as the only option. You want to start with $33 a month or $35 a month, $60 or $65 a month, and then $100 a month, and then other. So you have a number of variables based on what they gave as a one-time donation. I mean, I've worked with the organization and they said, our program is not working. And I look at what they're asking for, and they're asking for like $50 a month when the donor just gave $50. That's too high to start with, So so some people will tick that box of $50 a month if they're comfortable with it. But others are more comfortable with like $15 a month. I mean, the industry average right now is $23 a month.
Oh, $23 a month. Okay.
$23 a month is what we're seeing, but it does differ by type of organization. So, like religious organization, a lot of times gives smaller. Animal welfare and environmental tend to be a little bit lower as well. But then international relief is higher. So you have to look at what you're getting now. But do use a variable ask, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Now, you had two things that you cite. You worked with a youth group, and through one email, you doubled your monthly giving. What was that? Must have been a nice email. What'd you do there?
Yeah, well, I mean, so two things. One is, and you mentioned earlier incentives. So you don't need an incentive to entice donors to give monthly. But what does work really, really well is to use a challenge. I mean, a lot of folks use challenges all the time, and Giving Tuesday and what have you. Using a challenge does work as an extra carrot to say, hey, I was considering this, but if that means that you as an organization are getting $5,000 or $10,000 more, hey, I can sign up to give $10 a month and become one of your first 100 monthly donors. So what we did with this youth organization, and it was actually an email that they sent out to their volunteers. They didn't have a huge email list, so we said, let's start with the volunteers. We had a board member that said, look, I'm willing to give a $5,000 challenge. We created an email that mentioned that challenge, so it has a deadline. It has an urgency. It has a specific amount that you're looking for and a specific number of monthly donors. So they said, look, our goal is 25 new monthly donors. So you have the launch of the challenge where you're saying, hey, we would like to generate 25 new monthly donors, and a board member is giving $5,000 if we reach that. Then a week before the challenge ends, you're doing an email reminder, hey, we've got like 5 more to go. And then the day before the challenge ends, you got hey, we got 3 more to go. Can you get us there, right? And then they ended up getting 39 monthly donors. So they almost doubled what they were expecting. So again, you can't obviously do a challenge every month, right? But you could do a challenge maybe twice a year. And, the big
particularly
guys, if you Go ahead.
If you put your challenge more into the monthly giving, then you would would steer more people that way. Now, the one thing that I always worry about, if you have a lot of people actually do enjoy direct mail. If it's something you're interested in, like if you like World War II history and it's World War II museum, you enjoy reading about the stuff. If you get on the monthly giving thing, though, do you get still direct mail appeals, just newsletters? How does that work?
So So here's the thing. It all depends on what are you sending out to your donors now. Most organizations, frankly, are not mailing enough to begin with. So so they might be sending out 2 or 4 appeals a year. Well, what I recommend is you keep those monthly donors in your appeals, but you segment them and you recognize in the appeal, simple laser version, right? Or even better, if you can put them in your personal note group. So like a lot of organizations are using personal notes for their higher donors.
Like a post-it note or something like that. I realize you've given
on there, exactly. The board members or a group of volunteers are sitting there writing a personal note on appeal letters before it goes out. So write a personal note on these multi-donor folks and saying, thank you so much for being a champion for animals, and you just wanted to share this special story with you. Thanks, Bob, whatever, And then donors are going to say, wow, this is great. Yes, I like this story. Yes, I am a multi-donor. They recognize that I'm a multi-donor, but I want to give because I really care about this organization. And they will want to give, again, if you ask them. And, again, you're thanking them. You're recognizing them. So it's up to them to donate. And some donors will do it, and some donors will say, no, I'm doing my monthly donation, and I'm not willing to make another gift. But you don't know until you ask. So, and, of course, if somebody says, look, I only want to give once, I only want to hear from you once,
right.
Of course you're supposed to
a lot of people are like that.
Yeah, well, flag them in your database that way, So you always want to honor the donor wishes.
Right. There's a lot of people who just give. I remember asking my dad, he gave to a presidential library, not one of ones I was writing for, though. And I said, well, are you going to give again? He says, no, I gave. So a lot of people have no intention. They're going to give one time. But many people are open to giving more. You have to kind of sell them on it.
Well, and again, you're leaving money on the table if you don't. And again, it's an opportunity to say thank you to your monthly donors. And again, if you're doing a good job writing your appeals, you're having your thank yous and your impact story, and then the reason why they need to give again. For this particular reason, right? So you have all of those elements in your appeal. So, you're leaving money on the table if you don't, and you're leaving. The donor will decide what they want to do. So, and you can track that, but do segment them out. And the same applies in emails. Right. Segment them out in your emails. Because that will help you do something special. Like, again, in your newsletters, you can do something special. You can feature a monthly donor testimonial, for example. So there's a lot of different ways to cultivate these monthly donors as well. And they're going to give you a lot more money. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah, because that's such a sensitive topic that if somebody explains why they've decided to, it's probably the best way to approach it, don't you think?
Use a testimonial.
I've seen a lot of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, if somebody wanted to contact you, how would they do that?
So check out my website, Erica, and then the adirectsolution.com. And there's blogs, there's lots of great free resources to start a monthly donor program. And templates are there, and then you can sign up for my email newsletter and blog. And then if you have any questions, you can reach me at Erica, ERICA, at adirectsolution.com. Or you can call me at 508-428-4753. And I have a monthly giving helpline.
You have a lot of good resources.
Yes. Yeah. And I have a monthly giving helpline, so you could book half an hour with me to talk through your program. And, there's lots of great resources out there. And then I have lots of blogs and donor, Nonprofit Pro and lots of other things. So
Nonprofit Pro, that's where I was reading you. And of course, that used to be called Fundraising Success Magazine for some people because I don't think it shifted around 3 or 4 years ago. But yes, you have a lot of great columns. One of them I liked was Direct Mail Isn't Dead. That was good to know.
Yes. Another great one, yeah. I'm also a direct mail. I started at Reader's Digest, so I'm totally loving direct mail, and it's absolutely not dead. it's working.
Oh, I even heard of an email guy going back to direct mail.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's good to know.
It costs a little bit of money, but it's going to be worth so much. And the same with monthly donors, it really works. And again, the retention rate goes up, and that's crucial right now. So.
Well, great. It was good to have you as a guest. I would encourage people to consider this or do the monthly giving. Just do this. It's a great way. Really no reason not to. Thank you for having you as a guest. Till next time. Bye.